It's very hard. It's not an argument one can sell. Very hard. Historically, politically, geographically, even Islamically. It's very hard to sell this argument that Palestine is ours. It's not ours. How did it become ours? So now the Muslims in Palestine are Muslims living on Jewish land. And this is the fact. Historically, geographically, this is how it is. We cannot change it.
You talked about integration and global peace, and you have mentioned more than once that it's important for the Abrahamic faiths, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam to work together, to learn from each other, to have dialogue. But you obviously must be aware also that there is this strong rise of anti-Semitism. In the Muslim world, there is a feeling of angst against the Jews, against the existence of Israel. How do you think Muslims should overcome this prejudice they have, this idea that everything in the world is a conspiracy theory by the Zionists?
The hatred that we have as Muslims against the Jewish people, I'm a Shia Muslim. The problem of the Shia Muslims against the Jews, or Israel, or anyone for that matter, began after 1979. Shia Muslims don't claim land from Israel, and Israel doesn't claim land from us. The Jewish people don't want anything from us, and we don't want anything from them. They've lived in Tehran, in Iraq, and we have cemeteries that prove their existence on this land. And there are many Muslims that have lived within the Palestinian region, which is now governed by the Jewish people. We don't have a problem with them. It is after the Khomeini revolution that everybody started to scream Al-Quds, Al-Quds. And Al-Quds doesn't belong to us. We have nothing to do with Al-Quds. We Shia Muslims, we have nothing to do with Al-Quds. It was built by the second Caliph and the Umayyad dynasty. We reject both the second Caliph and the Umayyad dynasty. And we don't even believe the Prophet went to Palestine, Masjid al-Aqsa, and there's a big debate whether or not Masjid al-Aqsa, the farthest mosque, the very far mosque, that's the term, Aqsa. There's a big debate whether this is on earth or in the heavens because of its name. There's no proof that our Prophet went to Palestine at all. Yes, the direction of the prayer was towards Jerusalem, only because Jerusalem is very sacred to all Abrahamic faiths, especially the Jewish people. I believe if we can basically open the books of history and show the Muslims that Moses was before Jesus, a very logical matter. I don't see where the problem is. Moses was before Jesus. So how can we claim Palestine is ours when it is Jewish land? In the Quran it's Jewish land. According to history it's Jewish land. In fact, if there is any human civilization or any religion that wants to claim Jerusalem, it would be the Christians, not us. Between the Muslims and the Christians, there's a massive religion in between, a major religion, Christianity. And their prophet came, the leader, Jesus, the founder of their faith, came in our prophet, and their founder came in Jerusalem. So it's basically their Mecca. If anyone wanted to claim it, it would be them, not us. We have nothing there. We don't have the grave of our prophet, and we don't have the Ahlul Bayt. We don't have anything in Jerusalem. All we have is certain prophets that don't belong to us. They belong to all Abrahamic people. So this need to dominate was introduced by these terrorists, Hamas and Yasser Arafat and these people. Even though the Muslims, they love them because of personal interest. That's the main reason why we used to love them too. For personal interest, it was good. But if you want to be honest to yourself, honestly, what does Islam have to do in Jerusalem? How did Islam come to Jerusalem? Through the invasions led by Umar ibn al-Khattab, who kidnapped the governor of Jerusalem. He took him to Medina and then brought him back on a horse, and he gave him the keys to the city, and it was all done with. This is the only time we entered Jerusalem, by the sword. And we have nothing to do in that land, literally nothing. And these the very domes, Al-Quds and Aqsa, these need to be demolished. I know what I'm saying is very serious, but these need to be demolished. According to Islamic law, they need to be demolished. Not according to human rights or foreign policy, or we say Jewish have sacred sites under them. I couldn't care less who has the sacred sites under this. I'm saying, according to Islam, you cannot pray on occupied land. How can you build God's mosque on occupied land? According to our own jurisprudence as Muslims, Sunni and Shia, it's occupied land. Prayer there is not accepted. So they need to be dealt with. Either there's a peace treaty, or you can't keep the situation going on like this. It's an invasion. So Osama bin Laden built mosques. Saddam Hussein built mosques. It doesn't mean that every mosque is a good symbol that we need to fight for. And also there's an attitude within the Muslim world that every person that dies for the cause of Islam needs to be glorified, and we build them a tomb and a shrine and so on. No, it doesn't work like that. The ones who deserve shrines are the infallibles, according to Shia Islam, and the family of the Prophet, according to Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. All other Sahaba and people and Tabi'een and historians and Bukhari, why are we building them graves? Why are we building them tombs? I don't believe in that personally. And also, we've been building too many across the whole Middle East and the Arabian Gulf and wherever. We've stopped, and people are waking up. They say this land doesn't belong to you. You came at the very end of this whole chain of religions. So how can you claim authority over all of what's here? It's very hard. It's not an argument one can sell. Very hard. Historically, politically, geographically, even Islamically. It's very hard to sell this argument that Palestine is ours. It's not ours. How did it become ours? The Palestinian Muslims in Jerusalem today, the original Palestinians, not the migrants to Palestine, the original Palestinians are descendants from two major religions, either Christianity or Judaism. So if a Palestinian chooses to convert to Islam by the sword or by the book, only your religion changes. The identity of the land doesn't change. You want to become Muslim, go become Muslim. You want to become a Buddhist, become Buddhist. It doesn't mean you make all Palestine Buddhists with you. It doesn't work like that. You change. So now the Muslims in Palestine are Muslims living on Jewish land. And this is the fact, historically, geographically, this is how it is. We cannot change it. Jewish land is one thing, Zionism is another thing. There are Jewish people who oppose Israel. There are Jews who are against Israel. And Israel welcomes it. Big deal. Every government has an opposition. Let's not get mixed up. Israel as a country is one thing, Jewish land is another thing. Israel has every right to be to have a country on Jewish land. It's their land. It's their land. And what do we have now from Palestine? Show me one good thing from Palestine. All what they've given us, Muslim Brotherhood and Hizb ut-Tahrir and Hamas, and their rulers are robbing them. These are the facts. And I strongly believe in good relationships with the Jewish community. Strongly. Because the reality is, we are all brothers in humanity at the end of the day. If we're not brothers in faith, we're brothers and sisters in humanity. And I believe this is a battle that our forefathers started. Decades ago, they wanted to start a problem. Why do the upcoming generations still have to suffer and continue that problem? I believe, whether it be a two-state solution or whatever, depending on the politicians and their belief for the future, but I believe that interfaith is very important, relations between the two religions, and we obviously work in that field.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Imam Tawhidi, I find that you are extremely outspoken. You are extremely frank, honest, and you bring up issues that are very challenging for the status quo of the Muslims. You must have received a lot of feedback and pushback and hostility. Can you speak about that, and how do you deal with it?
Yes, we receive lots of threats, feedback, recommendations, whatever. One, it is difficult, but it's also expected. You don't enter a field like this not expecting it. There are some good stories, there are some sad stories, but at the end of the day, you're moving forward. You can't expect to grow a rose without thorns. It's impossible. Everything has a price. And, sometimes it's just taking the thorns away from the stem. And we're living Up until now, I've made it, and our message is getting across. But the thing is, Islamic reformation doesn't depend on me. I can go, very normal. I could be in a car accident tomorrow. The reform will happen, and there will be many people that will come in the future like me. This isn't a miracle. People realize that they need to change the situation that they're in, and they're rising, and this is something we welcome. So yes, it's very expected. You'll make many sacrifices, you'll lose lots of friends and family members, but it's worth it at the end of the day. You're saving humanity. You're doing everything you can to save humanity. Let's put it that way.
So, in ending, I want to ask you, what is your recommendation for Muslim communities, for Muslims at large? What should they do? Maybe 3 things that they should be doing to build this movement, to move ahead, to live in peace with each other.
I believe one of the main reasons why peace is achieved, or how peace is achieved, is if we stop linking ourselves with governments back home. So if I'm Syrian and Syria is at war, it doesn't mean I become a political activist for my country in the West. And I start losing friends and family because they don't agree with me. If I'm a Muslim and I have a satellite channel and I see things happening in the Middle East, it doesn't mean I make what I see on TV my agenda when I go outside in the Muslim community. Things don't work like that. Another issue is understanding that the West doesn't tolerate this hatred. In the Middle East, you see something on TV, you protest in the street, everybody knows what you're talking about. It's a closed society. Everything is connected. Here, you can't see something on TV, go outside and want to start problems. People won't know what you want. And you only bring fear in their hearts and unrest in the community. I think in order to achieve peace, something that's very doable, Muslims need to separate themselves with what is happening back home. The Middle East will always have problems from the beginning of human time up until now and until the end of time. The Middle East will never be free from problems. If we want to live in the West peacefully, stop linking yourself with the problems in the Middle East. Yes, condemn the terrorism, condemn the problems, write articles how we can achieve solutions, but don't expect to be a political activist for Saudi Arabia or Iran in Canada. That's very wrong. That's not your duty. That's not your responsibility. You're a citizen who abides by the Canadian law. Respect the Canadian law, respect the Australian law. There's no need for you to turn into a political activist because you see a video on YouTube and now you want to bring down Western civilization and you want to attack the disbelievers and the Jews. And it doesn't work like that. Separate between the two and live your life honorably. God gave you the opportunity to come to Australia, Canada, America. Use that opportunity to be a better human being. You cannot be a better human being from where you came from. Otherwise, you wouldn't have come. The main reason why you say, I've come for a better life makes you a better human being. Therefore, live it and enjoy it. Smile, be happy, enjoy the healthy lifestyle. Don't live like you hate the world you are living in. And that's unfortunately one of the main problems they are facing. So yes.
Thank you. You use the term reformation. How do you see this reformation, and do you see it happening across the Muslim world or only in the West?
No, reform is a real concept. It's happening, and it happened to all Abrahamic religions before Islam. And Islam claims itself to be part of the Abrahamic faith. It associates itself with that chain of Abrahamic religions, and all of them have undergone a reformation, a successful reformation. And there's no reason why Islam will not undergo its reformation. However, Islam's reformation will be very unique. Unique in the sense that reformation cannot take place through the clerical organizations, through the mullahs in power, or through Islamic governments, because they're all corrupt. They are all corrupt. No one can point to any Islamic government and say, this is a good Islamic government. It has never beheaded, it has never raped, it has never killed, it has never exiled, it has never imprisoned journalists, it has never banned free speech. It doesn't exist. All Islamic governments are guilty of these crimes. Therefore, a reformation cannot take place through Islamic governments, even if Islamic governments wanted to assist. An Islamic reformation will take place, in my opinion, through the Muslims that traveled or in other words, fled Muslim countries, came to the West, came to even more liberal Muslim societies such as Dubai, which is a democratic society, but it has a Muslim majority. But Sharia law doesn't rule, they don't behead. So Saudi Arabia, for example, it beheads people. The very ruling in UAE, Emirates, and for example Kuwait, it's frowned upon. Nobody beheads in those areas. Therefore, there's a big difference between a Muslim nation governed by democracy and a Muslim government, an Islamic government based on Sharia law. Reformation, in my opinion, will take place because there are Muslims that have fled these theocratic environments and have come to the West and have realized that living with other people is possible. Having peaceful relationships with other religions is possible. Interfaith opens doors for achieving global peace. Therefore, why not? And these people will be the main reason for the Islamic reform. We need to work with them. We need to champion them. We need to give them our platforms. At the same time, we must not forget one very important fact, and that is, when we are working for Islamic reform, there are people that are working to take back Islam 1,400 years the other way. So we are up against an uphill battle, but it is a battle we shall win, definitely, because all of the matters that are happening around the world show that everything is in our favor. The world isn't full of people who hate Islam. The world is full of people who hate the radicals from every religion, the KKK, the other cults, the Orthodox fundamentalist preachers from other religions that have isolated themselves and believe in beheading. And we have them, the Wahhabis and the Salafis and the fundamentalists as well. And the world is uniting against them. Therefore, the key to Reformation is that we, moderate, peaceful individuals, Muslims, need to unite with them against the fundamentalists from within our own faith. That is the only way we can achieve Reformation. Obviously, there are many other chapters and aspects and also angles one can look at Islamic Reformation through. However, it is a real issue, it's happening, and we are not the first to speak about Islamic reform. Islamic reform has been a matter of concern for the Muslim world and Muslim philosophers and thinkers from the 5th century. Since 500 years. Since 5 centuries ago. And for the last 500 years, we've been dealing with people from Sudan who have claimed to be reformers and were killed. There are many reformers around the world, even in Britain, even the Cameliers that came to Australia, the Afghan Cameliers. All of them had a vision for reform and they married into different communities and so on. The integration and diversity is real and it's a matter that can be achieved. And I support it strongly. However, we say to the Western world, be patient with us. Be patient. We come from a broken religion. A religion completely infested with Islamic radicals. We don't have an organized leadership body. Be patient with us. Don't expect an Islamic Reformation like the Reformation of Christianity. The popes gather and the church gathers and the people gather and they say, okay, the benefit is this and let's do it. No. There will be lots of blood spilled before an actual reformation happens. Many people will lose power. Many politicians will gain power who have liberal and secular views. Therefore, we say to Western governments, it's not a dream, it's not something we're imagining, it's something we're living. Be patient with us.